Okay, so this is the best Mexico squad that I've ever seen in my lifetime. It's official, and it ain't even close. Lalo THR here. This is actually take two because I had already recorded and uploaded my video review slash reaction to Mexico Ecuador and the history making victory last Tuesday. But I have to do this the right way. I deleted that one. I didn't like the way it came off. We're gonna start this out the right way by telling you that this Mexico squad is the best squad of all time. Because 3 days removed from the event, and I have never seen Mexico perform like this. That first half, man, was just perfect. It was perfect. I mean, granted, Raul Jimenez missing that header that was given to him on a silver platter with a magnificent pass from Piojo Alvarado. More on him later. We could have put that away and increased the lead from, really, it could have been 4-0 by the end of the first half, ladies and gentlemen. And this Ecuador side is one of the top defensive units on the planet right now. Like, they are literally rated by most footy fans and analysts and pundits as to being like a top 10, top 15 best defensive teams on the planet right now. And Mexico mopped the floor with them in the first half of their game. Within 30 minutes, they could have won like 4-0 within 30 minutes. It was only 2-0. It could have been 4. But, coulda, woulda, shoulda. If ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. But no less, this is still the greatest Mexico performance I've ever seen in my lifetime. Before this game, up to this point, if anybody would ask me, like friends, family, people that aren't really like casuals and stuff, if they asked me what's the best Mexico team you've ever seen, I would have easily said 2014, right? Because we still had Rafa Marquez, albeit an aging Rafa, but Rafa is Rafa, no matter how old he is. We had Hector Herrera, we had Chicharito, who was on fire at the time, Carlos Vela, Memo Ochoa, who was on fire at that time, Giovanni Dos Santos, etc. Like that team was just freaking stacked, which made the no era penal scandal debacle all the more heartbreaking. Because, man, if Mexico would have won that game against the Netherlands, we would have faced freaking Costa Rica in the quarterfinals, dog. Which, calling that a winnable game is an understatement. I would bet the house that we would have beat Costa Rica in a freaking World Cup quarterfinal match. But nonetheless, be that as it may, this Mexico squad has the results, though. On paper, the 2014 Mexico squad mops the floor with this current one. On paper, just looking at talent alone. But looking at results, which at the end of the day is the only thing that matters. Looking at results, this current Mexico team is not only superior to the 2014 squad, but it is the best Mexico team of all time, at least certainly that I've ever seen. Because in my lifetime, I've never witnessed Mexico do what they did last Tuesday, which is win a knockout round at the World Cup. I've never seen it, and I'm an unk. I'm in my 30s. My first World Cup, granted, was the 2010 World Cup. So I've been watching relatively short amount of time compared to others, But, even when I look back at results from previous World Cups that I didn't see, I never seen Mexico make it this far. It's a good thing we have Google. I could see for myself, even though I didn't watch any of those games or those performances, those lineups. This is incredible, man. And granted, it's not round of 16. We still haven't made it past the round of 16 due to the format change. We're not only fighting for quinto partido, we're now fighting for sexto partido, which is unfortunate because had the format not changed, we did that last Tuesday. We would be in the quarterfinals right now. But again, ifs and buts, right? So, but it's still historic, man. This is a knockout game. It's not a group stage game. It's a knockout game at the World Cup, which Mexico has not won in 40 years. That's incredible. The performances from top to bottom, man, were just unbelievable. Piojo Alvarado, let's talk about him because this is one of the guys that gets a lot of flack from myself as well. I said it from the very beginning, man, that, Piojo Alvarado has no business being on the team. El Vasco should really switch to a formation that doesn't require wingers because we don't have any good wingers. El Vasco Aguirre has shut me the fuck up. You know, and I think I speak for many people when I say that. He shut up a lot of people. You know, like I'm never going to question El Vasco's lineups or decisions ever again, man. Win or lose, I'm never questioning what he does again. He's done something for this team that no other coach has been able to do before, which is he's instilled a certain confidence and workhorsemanship in this team. Everybody in this team plays to a role that they're assigned to a perfection, and that's unprecedented. But Piojo Alvarado, man, I mean, his services, his crosses, him coming back on defense and being a pit bull just like Eric Lira, more on him later. Like, bro, Piojo Alvarado has to be one of the hardest workers on that whole team, if not the hardest worker. Actually, I would go on to say, I would go out on a limb and say that Piojo Alvarado is the hardest worker on the team, because he's not only attacking, he's also coming back and defending, doing what Jorge Sanchez has trouble doing. Jorge Sanchez, I mean, I hate on him too, but I can't be mad at the performance he had against Ecuador. He does look shaky at times because he's a very sloppy, clumsy player, but he did well. What can I say? Once again, that's why I'm not going to distrust Javier Aguirre and his decisions, because it's working. You know, Tala Rangel proving to be that goalkeeper that could instill confidence in all of us. You know, Jesus Gallardo had somewhat of a quiet game, but he did his part. He didn't make any mistakes. You know, he didn't play bad. He just had to quiet his game. And that Vasquez Montes pairing is impeccable. And let me just say right now, I truly believe that it is because of Johan Vasquez, mainly him, but also the pairing of Cesar Montes. Now, granted, Edson Alvarez, when he was placed there at CB due to the red card that Montes accumulated, you know what? Alvarez did well at that role as well. I think it's because Johan Vasquez just makes everybody play better, whoever's around him. You know what I'm saying? And I truly believe it's because of Johan Vasquez and Cesar Montes, these center backs here, that we are undefeated right now, and touting the fact that we have not conceded a goal in all of our games participated in thus far. Johan Vasquez should be the team's captain. I believe he is. I think when Edson is on, he's not. But Gil Mora is surprisingly placed as a starter for this game, and you instantly see the difference when this 17-year-old kid starts for the team. I said it in the previous transmission. I said this kid cannot ride the bench anymore. He needs to start these games from here on out. He started, and you see the difference. He was creating so much space, man, opening up a bunch of different opportunities, avenues for opportunities, attacks, just thrilling shots taken. That curved ball that he shot at that corner, my goodness gracious, had that ball went in, let me tell you right now, there would have legitimately been an earthquake. You know, they're already saying that, you know, when Julian Quiñones scored his goal, the crowd erupted so loudly that seismic activity actually alerted, like if there was a miniature earthquake, okay? Just imagine if that beautiful curved shot that Gil Mora shot in the corner there, if that had went in, oh my goodness gracious, man. That freaking stadium would have it would have collapsed, because there would have been a legit earthquake. Like, it was insane, man. And even though he missed by mere inches, it was one of the best shots I've ever seen at a World Cup, certainly from a Mexican team, even though it missed. That kid is a world-class player that we have in our camp. He's only 17, guys. We have him for at least 3 World Cups minimum coming up. You know what I mean? 2030, 34, 38. This kid's gonna be around. Although he won't be a kid anymore, you know, in the upcoming World Cups. But my goodness, man, this is a special talent that we have, and we need to protect him at all costs. It's already being rumored that he's being linked to Liverpool or some EPL team. That's pretty interesting news to me. I would have, you know, fancied him at, you know, Madrid or Barcelona or any La Liga team. I feel like he would fit more. But if he goes to Liverpool, guess what? Guess who's becoming a Liverpool fan? I mean, this kid is just a spectacular talent, man. I can't sing his praises enough. Luis Romo. This is another player that I myself have slandered in the past. And I said he does not even belong on the World Cup roster. And this guy, you want to talk about shutting people up, man. I mean, he got a goal already, he got an assist, and in this game, he was, pushing back that Ecuadorian attack, winning balls, losing some balls here and there. But this guy, he's a workhorse. Luis Romo, excuse me, Luis Romo is what Charlie Rodriguez should have been. Just a hard worker who has solid performances. You know what I mean? Not great, but good, solid performances. And he actually complements Eric Lira really well. You know what I mean? Kind of playing as a double pivot, But let's talk about Eric Lira because, I know I said that I truly believe the main reason we are undefeated right now and keeping a clean sheet is because of the center backs, particularly Johan Vasquez. But Eric Lira is also part of that equation to why we are undefeated without conceding a goal thus far. And it's also been confirmed that Eric Lira is getting the hell out of Cruz Azul, which I've been said he needs to leave Cruz Azul. This guy is way too good to be playing for fucking Cruz Azul, homie. Cruz Azul do not deserve this man. But I could see now why Cruz Azul won the title. This dude right here, Eric Lira, he's everyone calls him a pit bull. He's a destroyer, man. This guy, he's gonna go to Europe and he's gonna be Edson Alvarez 2.0, probably better. He's gonna have a great career. I can't wait to see more Eric Lira in the future. He has at least 1-2 more World Cups with Mexico. I think he's 26, I want to say. So he's still relatively young as well. Probably has another World Cup in him for sure. Quiñones. What can I say about Quiñones? This is a guy who's not even playing at his natural position. This dude is a striker. But Aguirre has him playing as a winger who cuts in and kind of plays as a second striker, which is brilliant, actually. It's working. You can't even hate on that. I've been one of the many critics who have said, bro, Quiñones should be playing as a striker. What the hell is El Vasco doing? Wasting his talent as a winger. But my goodness, it's working, man. Again, El Vasco, and it's funny because it's now a meme of Quiñones, doing the putting his finger to his lips, shutting up the players. Well, that might as well be El Vasco right there. You know what I mean? Through Quiñones, telling not just the players, the rivals, but the fans to shut their damn mouths. They know what they're doing. Quiñones has been spectacular, man. I don't know how this dude is playing in the Saudi league and not in Europe. I guess they're probably paying him a lot of fucking money over there in Saudi Arabia. Probably way more money than Liga MX was paying him. Club America was paying him. I don't know how he's not in Europe though. Real talk. I don't understand that. Quiñones should be playing in Europe for at least an upper mid-tier team in Europe. I could see him playing for a Bayern, a Munich, and Hijax at least. He's such a good player, man. And he is proving it with the team. Raul Jimenez. He missed that easy header that was handed to him on a silver platter. But boy, did he redeem himself with one of the most magnificent plays as a striker that I've ever seen. When he was at the right corner, man, being pressured, being pressed by some defenders. He flicked the ball over his head, moving it up, passing it to Quiñones, who would then pass it back to him as he got in a position and just whipped that ball into that net like if it owed him money, man. Freaking incredible. That's our wolf. That's our big bad wolf right there, Raul Jimenez. And I said it. That's the one prediction I got right. I predicted this game to be a 2-1 victory. And the only reason I picked that, I actually said Mexico would win 2-0 in the beginning with Raul Jimenez signing a goal. But then I changed it to 2-1 only because I found it hard to believe that they would continue to keep a clean sheet. This is unprecedented, guys. These clean sheets. The fact that Mexico is winning all their games, but they're also not conceding any goals is freaking incredible, man. That's the only reason I picked them to win 2-1. It's not because I felt like Ecuador was gonna press and attack really hard and work for a goal or anything. Only because I just can't fathom Mexico staying goalless like this, or not conceding any goals rather, this long. It's incredible, man. But Raul Jimenez did put a goal in the back of the net, as I said he would. Just tremendous. I didn't think Julian Quiñones would score because, as I said before, I feel like teams are gonna see him as a bigger threat than Raul and than anyone else, and so they're gonna be on him like white on rice, which the Ecuadorian defense were. But he was able to dribble his way into that goal, into that golazo, which was incredible, man. Incredible. On the right, Piojo Alvarado, I already spoke about him at length, man. All I'm going to say is, once again, this team is getting the results that I've never seen, and thus I have to say this is the best Mexico squad that I've ever seen. Ecuador, we not only beat Ecuador, we broke their spirits. And I know we did for a fact, because Hincapi, I believe, his weird ass name, in the second half, he did that, that FIFA's strictly enforcing a new rule that players cannot cover their mouths and talk shit, basically. We already seen another South American player, Almiron, I believe, of Paraguay, get sent off with a red card for doing just that. And now Hincapi does that to Santi Jimenez. Santi Jimenez snitched him out. The ref looks at VAR and gives him a straight red card, and he's smiling. He's smiling and clapping as he's walking off the field because he was broken. His spirit was broken. He did not want to be on that battlefield anymore. He did that on purpose, guys. That was not an accident. That was not him, just trying to talk shit. He knew what he was doing. He knew exactly what he was doing. He wanted off that pitch. There was no point. It was a lost cause. They knew they lost. They were already down 2-0. It was like the 80th minute, 85th minute already, and the fans just raining down boos and whistles every time they touched the ball. He didn't want none of that anymore. So he intentionally got that red card and took the walk of shame off that pitch. We broke Ecuador's spirit. And this is a team, guys. This ain't motherfucking Bosnia. Like the US got Bosnia, Canada got South Africa. This ain't Bosnia or South Africa. This Ecuadorian team has a player in Moises Caicedo who's worth $100+ million. Okay? They have players that have won the Champions League more than once. Best defensive team in the world. They're a top 10, top 15 best defensive team on the planet. And we made them look like scrubs. Little Gilberto Mora, age 17, making Caicedo his toy, one of his juguetes. We made this team look like a bunch of chumps, guys. And let me just say, listen, I know we're playing England next, and a lot of people think we're gonna beat England because of how we beat Ecuador. Well, let me just clarify. Ecuador isn't like this elite powerhouse team. Don't get it twisted. But defensively, they're a very hard team to beat. And we didn't just beat them. We broke their spirits and made them look like amateurs. Do you understand that? This is incredible, man. So don't let nobody minimize this accomplishment because this wasn't the round of 16 or anything like that. You know what I mean? This is the greatest win in Mexico's history, I believe. I truly believe that. Even bigger than when they beat Brazil in the Confederations Cup final. This is the biggest win in Mexico's history, I think, personally. I could be wrong about that, perhaps, but it's certainly the best Mexico performance that I've ever seen. Now, looking ahead to the game against England going down on Sunday, there's actually rumors and innuendo that the game is gonna be changed to a different time and much earlier start time. It was originally gonna be at 5 p.m. Now it's being slated to be at freaking 12 in the afternoon due to the risk of severe inclement weather, thunderstorms and the like, lots of rain. And it's interesting because this actually favors Mexico a lot if they're gonna play in the afternoon, But I also heard an interview with El Vasco Aguirre who got wind of this news, and he's super upset, super pissed off, and he says that the players are also pissed off. The Mexican players are also pissed off at this change of time. Now, as of this recording, it's not official though. This is just, again, rumor and innuendo. It's not official yet, but it's practically all but confirmed. You know, we're just waiting on word from FIFA themselves. But that's concerning. To me, that's concerning because you know, the players have all been in excellent morale up to this point. You see footage of the team, of the players playing with each other, like on the training ground, hitting each other with those styrofoam noodles and like chasing each other and throwing each other up in the air, and they have a lot of camaraderie. It's like this team are actual friends and brothers, man. Like they're, you know, it's a real, you know, gang. You feel me? Like they're vibing and they have good morale, and perhaps that's also been contributing to their success right now. So this is really concerning to me. El Vasco being upset, the players now being upset about the time change, you know, which I would think that the time change actually favors them even more against England, you know, but apparently not. I mean, you know, they're pissed off. You know, of course, Javier Aguirre had a certain set plan that he formulated. You know, the schedule of when they eat, when they wake up and start training, and all those things have to be changed now. So it's understandable, but I don't know, man. That's really concerning to me, though. I don't like that at all, that the players are going to kind of go into this game not in low morale necessarily, but, you know, it's going to be kind of a nuisance to them that the whole thing got changed as far as the schedule. And I don't want them to go onto that pitch feeling a little negative, you know, because we don't want to lose this current spark that the team has. This is going to be a very difficult game, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I am a little worried about this game. You know, I honestly, this is going to sound like a cop-out here. This is going to sound like a cop-out. But even if Mexico gets knocked out by England, bro, I'm already happy. I'm already happy with what I've seen from this team, bro. This World Cup squad right here has made me the happiest I've ever been in a Mexico team since going back to 2010 when I started following the team religiously. You know, I'm already happy no matter what happens. But with that said, it does seem like the incredible momentum Mexico is going in with, Azteca, it's got this mystical power to it, man. You know, on a paranormal level, quite frankly. It's just like paranormal how, you know, Mexico just turns into a completely different team at Estadio Azteca. I think it's more than just the altitude and the smog pollution and all those things. I think it's, you know, I think it's just the energy in that stadium. I think it's an energetic thing, you feel me? Like, I don't know, man. There's something mystical about that stadium that it's an intangible that you really can't describe. So it's interesting that some people, even some British people, have Mexico as the favorites going into this game. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, like my heart is telling me that Mexico's gonna win this game, a scrappy 1-0, you know, but my mind is telling me that England will prevail one way or the other because they have killers up front, man. You know, Raul Jimenez is fantastic, Quiñones is fantastic, but none of those guys are Harry Kane, dog. You know, and I hate that I'm saying this. I'm just keeping it real. I'm just trying to be realistic, you know. I'm not gonna be a delusional fan that's just, oh, we're gonna just beat everybody. Fucking bring us the cup already. Nah, bro. You gotta be real with yourself too. And that's so far, that's how I see it. My heart is telling me Mexico's gonna win this shit 1-0. But my mind is telling me that England is gonna win this game 1-0, possibly 2-1, you know? You know, England's defense isn't all that great. Their defense is about as maybe a couple notches below our attack, if that makes any sense, you know? Like, I don't know, I don't know, man. This is a very tough game to call. It's very hard for me, man, to imagine Mexico knocking out England in a round of 16 match at the World Cup. It's hard for me to imagine that because I've been through so much with this team, bro. As a fan, as a Mexico fan, who lived through the Chepo de la Torre days when we almost didn't even, or the Chepo days and the Piojo Herrera days when we almost didn't even make it to the World Cup and we had to play a fucking intercontinental playoff match against New Zealand to get into the World Cup. I lived through the Cambios Osorio era where he had all these weird ass players playing in positions that they don't play at, and Tata Martino, who is like the most careless coach we've ever had. Like, you clearly can see he didn't give a fuck about the team, was just there for a paycheck. And Diego Coca, who was there for not even a full business week, and Lamborghini, and all these different eras, bro. And so much disappointment, and so much misery, and hope, and disappointment, and hope, and disappointment, and hope again. Like, I've been through so much with this team. It's been a roller coaster ride. This shit's been like that new Fast and the Furious roller coaster coming out at Universal Studios Hollywood, where not only do we have ups and downs and turns and slopes, but we fucking spin around too. I've been through it all with this fucking team, man. So it's hard for me to envision Mexico beating England at a World Cup round of 16 knockout game. It's hard for me to envision that, no matter how much I try. But if you put a gun to my head, it's a cop-out if I just go with what I said, man. My heart says Mexico 1-0, but my brain says England 2-1. But if you put a gun to my head, fuck it. I'm gonna say Mexico defeats England at Estadio Azteca in the greatest Mexican victory of all time, and perhaps one that will never be topped again. And I say that they do that in regular time, and the party continues. Because you know what? If they lose and you shoot me because I got my prediction wrong, I'll die happy anyway.